Morning Liberty.
Well, what is up, all of our liberty-loving friends? This is another fantastic episode of Good Morning Liberty. My name is Nate Thurston, and across from me, over yonder, is the tallest known libertarian on record, Mr. Charles Chuck Thompson. How's it going today, man?
I don't think I'm the tallest known on record. I think there is one more on record.
Is he a libertarian?
I don't know.
Is Glenn Jacobs actually a libertarian? Because he is an elected Republican. So I don't know. I don't know what the rules are on that. He could be a member of the party. I'm not real sure. But someone reach out to us and let us know. So
why were you running?
Check.
You were running to start the show.
It makes you feel like the intro is going at an incredibly high rate of speed when you're doing this. And so I wanted to really get the juices flowing, you know?
Get the people going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gets me going. It gets the people going.
It's
Win-win.
provocative and the people like it.
It's a win-win. Powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So anyhow, that's a combination of those two words. This is Good Morning Liberty. We talk about life, liberty, and the pursuit of meaning every single day of the week when we want to. And today's Monday.
Today's one of the days we want.
It's a day we want to, yeah. And we're going to talk about stuff that happened over the weekend. One of the things that happened, Charlie played in the golf tournament. That's why he wasn't here on Friday.
Yep.
You won the scramble portion, correct?
We won the whole thing.
Oh, the whole. I don't know how your tournament works. So
it's like a Ryder Cup, but
yeah, I have the exact same knowledge of how it works as I did before you said Ryder Cup.
Oh, it's match play.
Okay.
A group of 16.
Somehow my knowledge of how this works is decreasing the more you explain to me how this works.
Yeah.
So
basically it was a group of 16 guys versus a group of 16 guys.
Okay.
You know, the Ryder Cup.
Tell you, man, that sounds super gay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty gay.
Okay.
Okay, look. The Ryder Cup
It's not gay, it's a 32-way?
Exactly.
I got you.
The Ryder Cup is the Americans versus the Europeans. Here for we call it Light Cup.
Okay.
It's like a Ryder Cup Light version. It's the North versus the South.
So who won this one?
The North. Yeah.
Of course they did. Of course. All right. Well, he did that. I went to the Dave Smith show, almost like concert. I went to the Dave Smith comedy show and live taping of a Part of the Problem episode after that. Went and saw that at Zany's last night. It was pretty cool. Pretty cool experience, I guess. Some funny stuff. I did wear my God Hates Fed shirt, and someone did comment about it. So if you guys want people to consistently tell you that they love your shirt, then you guys should go to GodHatesFeds.com. Get yourself a God Hates Fed shirt, because I got a lot of, as usual, a lot of people stopping me saying that they love my shirt. And so that's as good a reason as any.
I love your shirt now.
Thank you.
That
Yeah, you
great.
should go to Target and buy a pack of black shirts. There you go. So the comedy was great overall. The podcast recording portion, I believe we'll be talking about more later, probably when Josiah, the chair of LPTN, comes on and talks about it. There was just a couple weird answers to some of the questions on the Q&A, by the way. I don't have the full recording of it. I do have a partial recording, but since it's partial, I'm not gonna play it. It was just one of the answers. So LPTN right now is trying to get Clint Russell and Josie, redheaded libertarian, on the ballot as independents in Tennessee. You can't get on the ballot as a libertarian. It's like 46,000 signatures that you have to get. You can, yeah. You're legally allowed to get on the ballot as a libertarian. You just have to get 46,000-ish signatures, and of course you've got to get like double that because they're going to try to get rid of half of them, you know. But as an independent, they make it real easy for you. You got to get like 4,000 signatures, you know. You know,
how many do you need for Republican?
25.
Or Democrat?
2,500. No, 25.
25.
Yeah, that's how many.
25.
Yeah, so there was this weird moment where LPTN chair Josiah Baker stood up and asked Dave basically to support that ticket, which I'm told there was some talks beforehand that was going to be the case. You know, Dave Smith supported what's his name, Rechtenwald, and he's a Mises Caucus guy and all that, and wasn't happy with the Chase nomination.
I mean, Dave Smith was going to run for president.
Yeah.
For 2024. Big Mises Caucus guy.
I'm going to paraphrase his answer, and if that actually comes out on the recording and I've paraphrased it completely incorrectly, then I'll apologize about that. But his answer was basically F you and stop wasting all your time with this state affiliate politics. We got national stuff to worry about. And it was like a weird answer for a dude in a decentralization movement, where he was like, I know these state party affiliates are fighting about this and that. Some people are mad. Did you know some people have a problem with the Libertarian Party of Colorado trying to help raise money with RFK Jr., who's not a libertarian? I mean, I guess he's a member, technically. I think that happened. You know, some people have an issue with that, even though there's a national candidate. And so Smith's answer was really weird. He was like, we just had an assassination attempt on a former president, maybe the next president, and the front runner for the Democrats, dropped out before he got the nomination. He was probably threatened with the 25th Amendment, and we got all these wars. And he was like, we got more important stuff than these state affiliate problems to mess with. We need to focus on the important things. And I'll be honest with you, I was just like, what? Well, how do you change stuff if you don't elect people?
Yeah.
Like, it's like his prescription was that we all needed to be talking and tweeting more about things, but don't worry about when it comes to the actual action on the issues,
Yeah.
Like,
don't worry about promoting liberty in your state.
And people on the ground, don't worry about doing any of this stuff. We've got tweets to tweet about stuff that's going on. Don't you worry about activisting out there, okay? Which I did a little bit of that. I stood out there with a clipboard and a sheet, trying to get people to sign up.
That's big for you.
Give me their address.
I'm proud of you.
It wasn't for LPTN. I was trying to get people's addresses, But
it was your doxing campaign.
Yeah, that's all I was doing. I'm going to sell it to the feds, actually. That's all it was. That list is going to go for a lot of money, man. I'll tell you what.
This shirt I have, Fed hate, God hates feds.
I know. They trusted me.
It's a decoy.
Came up, gave me their address, It was great.
Phone number?
I'm probably saying something that's like totally illegal with the FEC or something right now. I have no idea. I didn't actually keep the signatures. Okay. That's not what happened.
They went to an official organization.
I gave them to my guy. He's going to make copies of them, give them to me later. So I just want to clarify. I did not take them home. They went with the official person designated. Anyhow, it was just a really weird answer. I'm going to wait for the episode to come out and maybe we'll talk about it some more. I just completely disagree with the idea, especially the Libertarian Party. Like, the Libertarian Party is a combination of a bunch of state affiliates. Kind of like how the country is supposed to be.
Kind of like how the Republican Party is also a bunch of state affiliates.
Yeah, but they all get in lockstep, and since they don't have any principles, like, it doesn't really matter who's on the ballot. They just want to win, and the same thing with the Democrats. They all just get in lockstep with one another. It doesn't really matter because they don't have any principles.
I don't remember if you remember. Do you remember watching the RNC? There were sections of the state, 50 different sections of the stadium.
Yeah, like each section.
Wisconsin, Iowa, Ohio. And guess what? They all have delegates that go to the convention that vote for the nominee. Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Isn't that strange?
That is weird.
You're telling me the Libertarian Party set up eerily similar to
other political parties? Yeah, the way political parties work.
How about that?
It was just a really weird answer.
I don't want to be part of the problem, so I'm going to focus on, national stuff.
We should just say things on microphones. That ought to do it.
That means you and I have been doing the Lord's work.
We've been doing our job this entire time. We don't ever need to stand out there and collect signatures for anyone. Nothing like that.
This whole time you've been hawk tuing on the microphone.
I know.
For liberty.
And turns out that was the right thing to do.
And there's no reason to organize anything at a state level or a local level. There's no reason to go down to the state capitol and try to get licensures removed and increase liberty in your own state. No reason for it.
It's weird. He seems very down, Debbie Downer on the Libertarian Party right now, which is fine. His guy didn't win, and that's fine.
He was supposed to run.
I know. And he admitted like that was his fault. He got all these people hyped up and then he dropped out.
He joined. If you look at like the founding of the Mises Caucus, like Dave Smith was one of like the OG.
Mm-hmm.
And it was largely based on he was motivated to run for the presidential nominee, which if he would have won.
Probably, yeah.
Handedly.
Mm-hmm.
And then we wouldn't be in this situation. There would be no there would be no state affiliate that wouldn't have Dave Smith on the ballot.
And he'd be very interested in what those state affiliates were doing at that time. It would be very important to what he was doing. And
look, I like Dave Smith. I think obviously he's a really, really good articulate orator of the message, especially when it comes to debates. I think he did a great job and has done great jobs debating and spreading the ideas on some really massive platforms like Joe Rogan or JBPD podcast, DBP. What's his name? The
Patrick Bet David thing?
PBD. PBD, not BDP. Not BPD, not borderline personality disorder.
Yeah. I got you.
It's
DB podcast.
ABC podcast. Yeah.
So, all right. It's your lie. You tell it, man.
He absolutely destroyed Chris Cuomo.
Mm-hmm.
So that was fun.
Yeah, I felt bad. I felt bad for Chris Cuomo.
a little bad.
But he deserved it.
Yeah, absolutely. But at the same time, I guess we all have our own opinions, and maybe Dave's right.
His answer to, hey, will you support getting Clint and Josie on the ballot in Tennessee and independence was essentially something like, you're an idiot that's wasting his time and we should be talking about Trump right now.
I'm seeing from the live group that people are saying they think that he's possibly all in on taking over the RNC.
I don't know. I haven't. That's
a theory.
Unconfirmed reports on that.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just saying that's what some of the people in the live group are mentioning. It's a theory.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
Well,
and maybe that's a strategy. Like I said, I like Dave Smith. None of us are trying to throw shade here.
I kind of am.
Well, except Nate.
Yeah.
Nate's a shade thrower.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very interesting answer from someone who...
It's worse than I said it. Just so you know.
It's an interesting answer from someone who wants to promote liberty. The best way to do it, as we all know, is to start as locally as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
You
should tweet.
If you can free your neighborhood from your HOA,
yeah,
that's a step in the right direction.
You should do that after you tweet about Trump, though. Just to be clear, we got to talk about the important stuff and then the HOA after that. Okay. So, just so you know,
I'm the opposite then. Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Let's talk about a controversy that's happening right now. Did you see this AI Deepfake video of Kamala Harris that Elon Musk tweeted out over the weekend?
It should be a crime from what I heard.
It should be a crime. I want to play it because it was great. And then I want to show you a couple of the lefties that are really mad about this. And then that'll transition us into a conversation about the censorship we all used to endure online all the time. Some odd censorship that's happening right now on Google.
Since been corrected, but
it hasn't. No, I just did it.
Oh, I did it this morning. It was corrected.
It's not. We'll check that here in a bit. We'll check that and see. Here's the AI of Kamala.
It's currently autofilling for me.
Is it really?
Just fine.
It's autofilling what? What are you typing?
Prez. Donald Trump's the number 2 result.
Did you type assassination attempt?
Oh no, I haven't.
Yeah, I mean, it'll show you results for Donald Trump. It's just a really weird thing going on Google right now.
Oh, the first one's on Truman.
Yeah. It doesn't do anything until you put the P after
it doesn't even do that.
And it doesn't do anything after that still. There's like no suggested searches. It's weird. The weirdest thing.
That is.
Okay, here's the Kamala video that was great. Freaking hilarious.
I, Kamala Harris, am your Democrat candidate for president because Joe Biden finally exposed his senility at the debate. Thanks, Joe. I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist. I may not know the first thing about running the country, but remember, that's a good thing If you're a deep state puppet, I had 4 years under the tutelage of the ultimate deep state puppet, a wonderful mentor, Joe Biden. Joe taught me rule number 1, carefully hide your total incompetence. I take insignificant things and I discuss them as if they're significant. And I believe that exploring the significance of the insignificant is in itself significant.
We're talking about the significance of the passage of time, right? The significance of the passage of time.
I
So
think
when
that's
you
a
think
real
about
clip.
it, there is great significance to the passage of time, and there is such great significance to the passage of time.
Another trick is trying to sound black. I pretend to celebrate Kwanzaa, and in my speeches, I always do my best Barack Obama impression. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And okay, look, maybe my work addressing the root causes of the border crisis were catastrophic, but my knowledge of international politics is truly shocking.
The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea. It is an alliance that is strong and enduring.
And just remember, when voting this November, it is important to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. And by what has been, I mean Joe Biden.
It's so good. It's so good.
That's great.
I need as many of these as possible. Now, the really stupid controversy about this is that apparently this is missing. So the idea is that people didn't know this was a deep fake. Now, there's probably no one that came forward and was like, oh, I thought this was real. You know, I was going to change my vote. And then finally Gavin Newsom tweeted about it and I found out that it was a fake video, you know?
Yeah.
It's like people who can't vote because of ID laws or something like they don't exist. It's a potential problem, I guess, that people use to scare you.
Well, this is election interference if I've ever seen
And
it.
I also found out it's tweeted by Mr. Reagan, and this isn't, in fact, Ronald Reagan that tweeted this out. Like, total misinformation. It's crazy, man. We have a community note here. AI-generated video must be marked as such. Let's see. I don't know. They put parody in a tweet. Label parody, also disinformation. Listen, if you don't know that this is AI, you shouldn't be voting in the first place. You shouldn't be allowed to vote, and I'll sign that law right now. I'll do it. Yeah, if that's what we're working with, then great. Good for you. Gavin Newsom says manipulating the voice in an ad. He put ads in quotes because it's not an ad. I guess it's made to look like an ad, though. Like this one should be illegal. I'll be signing a bill in a matter of weeks to make sure it is. So he's going to sign a bill in California. Says you won't be able to make stuff like that's going to solve it, because apparently so many people that were going to vote for Kamala Harris are just dumb as shit, and they had no clue that this was real, fake, really fake. You know what I mean? Elon Musk responded with, I checked with the renowned world authority, Professor Sugon D's Nuts, and he said parody is still legal in America. That's why I want to be a billionaire.
Yeah.
Nothing else. I don't care about a house or cars or anything. I just want to have a ton of followers so I can do that right there. That's the only incentive that I need to be a billionaire.
To buy a massive social media company with billions, hundreds of millions to billions of users, and then tweet something like that.
To tell Gavin Newsom to suck on these nuts. It's worth it, isn't it?
Yes.
It's worth the $44 billion. It has to be. Ed Krasenstein said, imagine if George Soros bought X and started posting anti-Trump AI-generated propaganda on X. What do you think MAGA Republicans would do? And this person says, I don't think Ed understands that this was Twitter for a decade. And that's kind of true. His response, he says it was, so he admits that that's what Twitter's been. And they handled things incorrectly. So your argument is that they should now continue that in the opposite direction and be hypocrites to get the left back, so you don't actually have values. I don't think that this is exactly what Twitter was for a decade. See, I think what Elon Musk is doing is fine, because he is doing it right out there in the open. He's posting it. People know that it's a parody. It's a deep fake. You would never hear a politician say...
Most people know.
Yeah. You would never hear a politician say true things like that.
Right.
Okay? The fact that those were true statements means it's fake. Clearly, there's your fact check. You don't have to run it through a program or anything. That's it. So...
I can't.
That's it. But what we had for a decade, and we still have in other platforms, is like this hidden censorship.
I'm so glad I get to listen to this show. This is my favorite show.
Good. You know what I mean? We used to have hidden censorship, but like things just wouldn't exist and you wouldn't really know that they didn't exist. It was like an unseen problem because you'd never see it. And that's the kind of thing that we had. And it's not that you had Jack Dorsey out there posting specifically like pro whoever Hillary Clinton ads or something like that. It was that he just censored all the anti-Hillary Clinton stuff.
Yeah.
You know, or some of it. Not the Russian stuff.
Or the Hunter Biden stuff.
Yeah.
You
that
know,
kind of stuff.
The laptop.
So I think this thing is fine. What the Soros people do is like a behind the scenes sort of thing where they're funding these specific elections and, you know, putting prosecutors in power in certain places to you know, not actually, I don't know, uphold the law. I don't know what prosecutors are supposed to do. Destiny had Destiny, that guy.
No.
He had a response to this that Project Liberal posted out. That's our friend Josh Eckel. He's getting real close to me saying his last name different.
Yeah.
Again. But still a nice guy.
I don't know about that anymore, actually.
I'm still saying he's a nice guy. He reposted this Destiny video. Here you go.
I was selected because I am the ultimate diversity hire. I'm both a woman and a person of color. So if you criticize anything I say, you're both sexist and racist.
Every single argument that conservatives made about how platforms should be treated as publishers, that we should treat them as publishers now because they're banning people who are racist Nazis, right? All of those arguments were bullshit because now the CEO of Twitter is publishing stuff that is clearly like opinion shit and nobody gives a fuck about that. Every single conspiracy theory about George Soros is now invalid when one of the richest men on the planet who bought one of the largest social media companies on the planet is now posting deepfake AI misinformation on his ownership account, okay? Like, every conspiracy theory you ever thought you had about Soros or Bill Gates or anybody else is just completely defunct. Like, this is so out of the open. What the fuck? Could you imagine Mark Zuckerberg?
Okay, pause right there.
He just said it.
He just said it. This is so out in the open. Right!
It is out in the open.
Exactly!
That's why it's different.
It should be!
That's why it's different. What the other people are doing is behind the scenes, and they buy off these people and they control the narrative without it being out in the open. They make sure that only certain experts can speak about things, and they give you an expert consensus on something after they somehow take care of all the others. You know, that's totally different. So the fact that he's clearly, he even says it earlier, he's like, he's posting something that's clearly opinionated. That's why it's different.
Yes.
It's clearly opinionated.
Yes.
It's clearly a joke and clearly deepfake AI.
It even said parody on it.
It did.
Yeah.
That video did. I heard that there was one that they removed the parody thing from or something like that. I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah, so it's still clearly fake. See our last conversation about the fact that there were true things in it. Mm-hmm. You know, so we know it's fake. Yeah,
let's cancel Weird Al Yankovic and whoever else.
On Facebook, like posting a deep fake video of Donald Trump making like a fake.
Mark Zuckerberg spent like $500 million on the 2020 election, personally. Okay. Yeah. Now that wasn't straight out in the open in front of everyone, but he still spent like $500 million on the last election. We know about that. But then when someone comes out and like truthfully, clearly posts something out, here is my opinion for everyone to see, obviously fake, the video I'm posting, that's the problem. You rather people hide it from you because that's what we've been dealing with all this time. You know? Okay. That's that part.
Oh, that's just, you know, that's the camp we can put Josh Eckel in.
And then we have this next thing that's really weird. Speaking of just odd censorship.
I just real quick on Josh Eckel. I've turned a corner, you know, because I think I've tried to give this guy the benefit of the doubt this whole time. But after his tweet about we're voting for Kamala, like, he's clearly not a libertarian.
Well, yeah, I don't have any respect for him politically.
Yeah.
All I say is that he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
I don't respect his like opinions or principles or anything.
He
He
seems
don't
to have
any. There's another answer, Josh. If you're listening right now, don't vote. There's a difference in hating Trump, and so you're not going to vote for him, and being a guy who's been a libertarian for so long, probably still holds a bunch of those beliefs, and deciding to vote for Kamala Harris, who's out there talking about assault weapons bans and Medicare for all and his equity and all sorts of other stuff.
His literal tweet says, we're gun owners. We hold conservative beliefs. We support fracking. We're homeschooling our kids. We mine Bitcoin. We bulk buy locally sourced beef. We're voting for Kamala Harris, who is going to attempt to destroy all the stuff I just listed.
All the stuff you just said. She thinks that she has the power to take away all those things from you. You know?
And I think I understand this idea because people somehow they sincerely believe that Trump is going to be a dictator, like an authoritarian. He's the next Maduro, right? Who just won re-election in Venezuela. Okay.
Definitely won it for sure.
He's the next Hitler or Stalin or Mao. Somehow that's Trump.
If I were him, I would have done that the first term. That way he could have stayed in.
That way he wouldn't have to.
He wouldn't have to worry about the election in the first place.
Yeah. Obviously, if he was a dictator, he would have just won in 2020.
Yeah, that's what he should have done.
Yeah.
Now he did try to stay, but he did try to stay in office. The thing happened on January 6th. Guess what? On January 20th or 21st, I don't know when his lease was up.
19th.
Whenever it was, he left.
The 19th.
They didn't have tanks around the White House or anything like that. I'm not leaving. Staying in the desk. Here I am. Come and get me. You know, that didn't happen. He left.
Yeah.
They tried to change or recognize the actual results of the election or whatever. I think he actually believed that it had been stolen.
He still believes that.
It very well might have been.
He still believes that.
Could have been.
Yeah.
It was definitely stolen in the sense that the intelligence community was involved in trying to get Biden in there. I mean, you tell me, who do you think the FBI wants the next president to be out of Kamala Harris or Donald Trump?
Or even in 2020, who do they want, Joe Biden or Trump?
Probably the Democrat.
Yeah.
Who do you think the CIA wants the president to be, the Republican or the Democrat? Trump or whoever the Democrat is?
Anyone else but Trump.
Anyone but Trump.
And probably RFK. They probably don't want him either.
Probably those. Who do you think I don't know, the healthcare establishment wants to be in there? I don't know. Maybe they don't want Medicare for all, so maybe they're fighting for Trump. I don't know. You can say maybe the banks. Maybe they want Trump. I'm not sure. He printed a bunch of money. That's fine. But the people in the deep state, they clearly have their preferred candidates. And it's not the guy who says he's going to try and clean up the deep state. You know, it's not that at all. That argument right there is enough to get some people to vote for Trump, you know, because all these people hate him.
Yeah.
It's got to mean something, right? I hate those people. Those people hate him. So maybe he's my friend. I don't know.
I mean, it's literally, I'm like 99.9% there.
Yeah.
Like
almost.
I'm going to vote. I'm probably going to vote for a guy that I don't like.
I just won't
Simply,
vote unless
and it's
I
not,
decide
and
to
I'm
vote.
not saying because I'm anti-principled. That's not why. Like, I know that this vote would specifically go against my principles. But it's almost as if my bitterness is outweighing.
Have you thought about maybe you just now made it to where a bunch of Republicans were in 2016 and 2020, and you guys were just in different time zones from each other, and now you finally got bitter enough that you're like, okay, screw the state,
I almost voted. I almost voted for him in 2020 because of the Russiagate and all the lies and the way they were trying to take him out, impeaching him twice, and all of that stuff. But the assassination attempt, and the not allowing to ask questions about what's really going on. Those things are making me lean towards, it's like the market, right? When everyone's buying, you should be selling. When everyone's selling, you should be buying.
That's generally true.
And they have been trying to sell Trump now, like get rid of him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've been trying to short Trump
for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just saying, maybe it deserves a buy.
So this weird thing that's happening with Google, I'm surprised because normally
Amanda says, "What assassination attempt?"
That's why I was laughing.
I can't find it on Google.
Normally, they've got some kind of a BS excuse, like I don't know, safety, so their misinformation or whatever. But I don't understand this Google thing where you type in assassination attempt on
Trump
TRUM, and it still doesn't autofill the suggested searches with Trump. Like he's nowhere on the list at all. It's really, really weird. And so I guess that just means that their algorithm has deprioritized any searching about that. And I guess because after that assassination attempt occurred, we said, a lot of people we know said, well, that's it. The election's over. He just won with that picture, with his fist up in the air. That's it. And magically, a lot of people have forgotten about that. It's kind of like it didn't happen already in people's minds. And a lot of people on the left have decided that he didn't actually get shot, that it was a glass from the teleprompter or something that hit him. I was hanging out at a friend's house this weekend, and they were showing the speech, and he's like, oh, you better watch out for that teleprompter. I'm like, okay, so what's your point? So the bullet didn't hit his ear. It was a few other inches away, and the glass from the teleprompter that got hit by a bullet hit him in the head. Like, what's your point?
He didn't have bullets flying at his head?
Yeah. Someone tried to kill him.
Yeah.
That still happened.
Even if you can, like you said, concede the fact that a bullet didn't graze his ear. Maybe it didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't seen his ear.
Now I saw Donald Trump Jr. said, oh, he lost like half his ear. That's not true.
No.
He didn't. There's like a little mark on his ear.
There's pictures of his ears recently,
Still
like when he was playing golf
ear
with Bryson DeChambeau without a bandage.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his ear.
Yeah.
Looks like an ear.
Like pretty soon you won't be able to tell anything happened. Probably.
Yeah.
But still, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter at all. Who cares?
There were literal bullets flying at him.
All you're saying is, I don't like it when people have any sympathy for this guy. That's all you're saying. And so you want to try and downplay it as much as possible. Maybe because you think he's Hitler or something like that. Whatever. The Google thing is really weird. There's also other stuff happening like on...
Now, the other thing about X is that this probably wouldn't be happening. You wouldn't be able to share this type of story that Google isn't allowing you to kind of search for the assassination attempt on Trump.
True.
On X.
Then we just wouldn't know.
Also be censoring it.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference in the type of censorship and type of bias that we were talking about in our previous segment.
Mm-hmm.
Meta.
Totally unplanned, this entire episode.
Meta AI is also doing something weird. I saw this several times, telling me about the assassination attempt on Trump. It says, I can't assist with that. I don't always have access to the most up-to-date information. Can I help you with something else? And it says, tell me about Kamala Harris's campaign for president 2024. And it's got Kamala Harris's 2024 presidential campaign announcement. Here's the date she announced, July 21st, when Joe Biden withdrew his bid for re-election. And it's got all the up-to-date information on it. It's strange.
Which just happened.
Yeah, it just happened. The other thing was on July 13th. When that happened, seems like you'd be able to muster up one paragraph about it. I checked ChatGPT, and it does have information.
Okay.
Because I don't know, man. And I am surprised in the day where I tweeted out this morning that I was surprised that Google hadn't fixed it yet. Fixed it was in quotes, because like you said, back in the day, we just wouldn't have known that this kind of thing was happening because it wouldn't have been posted all over the place.
Unless it got shared by a friend or something.
Yeah. Like an email chain. And if you don't send it, you're going to have bad luck for 7 years or something like that.
Yeah.
Kids don't know what we're talking about,
Yeah. Or you're going straight to hell.
But now now these days, everyone knows this is happening and it's still there. And Meta, the same way. I mean, heck, Mark Zuckerberg came out and said that was one of the most badass things he's ever seen. And here's Meta AI. I mean, I know Mark Zuckerberg's not in there coding everything, but here's Meta AI doing basically the same thing.
Mm.
It's just wild that even with an assassination attempt of someone, you would decide to remove it from search, essentially.
And
you can
that's
still search it. It's going to give you results. But search suggestions not popping up or AI not being able to pull it when you're talking to it means that it's been blacklisted in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah. And the people that are purposefully manipulating things like this, that's how you know who the bad guys are. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't like the right or the left, but I have more of a problem with the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is something that Elon Musk did a good job of it when he was talking to Jordan Peterson the other day, that he really woke up to the woke mind virus, the left, the purposeful manipulation, narcissistic, projecting victim status of the left that will purposely do things like this and then claim
They'll
that
gaslight you.
That the other side is the one trying to destroy democracy.
Yeah.
And it drives me so insane that I just want to jump out of a window.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what they want you to do.
That's literally
that is the goal of gaslighting.
The goal that they're doing.
Yes.
They actually want you to react and do something bad so then they can use that against you and continue their whole...
That way they can feel unsafe.
All their control.
And then once they feel unsafe,
The Heritage Oversight Project, speaking about the assassination attempt, the Heritage Oversight Project, just called Oversight Project, has some odd information on the would-be assassins' connection. So they say, we found the assassins' connections through our in-depth analysis of mobile ad data to track movements of Crooks and his associates. To do this, we tracked devices that regularly visited both Crooks's home and place of work and followed them. So they made a list of the devices that followed his home and his work, and then they looked at some of their other locations. And this is interesting. The places these devices went. You could guess. It's up there in the
places these devices did go.
Yes. Someone who regularly visited Crooks' home and work also visited a building in Washington, D.C., located in Gallery Place. This is in the same vicinity of an FBI office on June 26, 2023. Whose device is this? I do have to share with you the community note. The location they posted on here is nearly 1 mile away from the FBI building. And apparently FBI's Uber policy is it's got to be within half mile, for them to Uber out to dinner with someone. They say the entire downtown region of DC is only 2 square miles. So basically any building that you pick in that area, they'd be able to say it's in the vicinity of a FBI building. So just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
But we don't know who these people are because there are multiple.
Very far from the U.S. Secret Service headquarters.
That's interesting. That's also it. Oh yeah,
it's right there.
Isn't it? I didn't even notice that. Why'd they mention the FBI? The Secret Service headquarters is right there. It's like, oh, it's the parking lot for the Secret Service headquarters.
Yeah.
Okay. That's weird.
Okay.
Another device linked to Crooks visited Plymouth, Massachusetts. They've got the Hotel 1620 Plymouth Harbor, Logan International Airport, Boston, and then also visiting Crooks. And basically the gist of this is we don't have a list of Crooks's friends or family that was traveling back and forth between DC and the surrounding area a month before the shooting occurred. And we don't know who he had regular contact with that also had regular contact with the parking lots of government buildings. We don't know that part. They said we found a device linked to Crooks's work that traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania on July 4th and July 8th. Okay, so this device traveled to Butler, Pennsylvania on July 4th, July 8th. This device stopped all activity on July 12th. Done. And then the shooting was on July 13th. Okay, so that's strange. I find that to be kind of weird. Maybe we'll get information about this someday. Maybe we won't. I tend to think that if
you guys ever seen the movie Shooter?
I've seen it. Yes. Yeah. Saw it before. We need that guy who's going to keep looking, keep digging.
It turns out
his life.
It turns out that Internet Coffee Shop is just a few blocks away from the nearest FBI office.
Turns out. Man, I'm surprised they haven't had that movie taken off the internet. Just remove it.
Yeah.
So this is interesting. Also, this will be our last thing, I guess. Investigative journalist Seymour Hersh.
Well, that guy's been debunked.
Yeah.
So you can't believe
terrible journalist.
I can't believe anything this guy says.
No one trusts anything that guy says at all.
Even though he was right.
He was. So he's the one
that broke the Nord Stream.
Talked about Nord Stream, although he said the U.S. and Ukraine did it, and we don't have any proof for sure. The U.S. has not agreed to tell us that they're the ones who did it. So currently he's still a conspiracy theorist until they confess. He also broke very important stories back during Vietnam. He's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist, highly respected until he started things that countered whatever the mainstream media narrative was. And all of a sudden,
he's not so
like this community
trustworthy.
Notes. I mean, this is community notes. It's not showing right now, but if we can see them. Says no credible sources have reported that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, and Hakeem Jeffries coordinated with Obama. So as
they discredited this guy on purpose.
Seymour Hersh is super not credible. A series of blog posts. So I'm reading this one to tell you who he spoke to. Sorry, I haven't really told you what the information is. Seymour Hersh is saying that Obama threatened Biden with the 25th Amendment, saying that he had Kamala's approval to force him out of the 2024 race. And that's why Biden actually dropped out.
Well, that's why they dropped out for him, and then they told him a couple days later.
Yeah, right afterwards.
Yeah.
So in this piece from Seymour Hersh called Leaving Las Vegas, he said, I went over these reports this week with a senior official in Washington who helped me fashion an account of a White House in complete disarray. So, of course, he's not going to tell you who the senior official is. That's all the information you have is that it's a senior official in Washington. And then you have to trust that Seymour Hersh is not just making stuff up for fun in order to harm the Democrat Party or whatever his motivation would be on that to get more people to his Substack, I guess. I mean, I signed up for a 7-day free trial so I could read this article. So maybe that's all it is. Just a big cash out,
He even says at the end of that paragraph, none of what you read below comes from an official account by the White House.
By the White House.
Right.
They've not posted that this is what happened, but he's got a guy or girl. Senior officials can even be girls these days.
Yeah. Not that we know what a girl is.
Yeah. It depends on how they identify. Yeah. Why don't you read some here?
He's got a human that we know of. All right. After the debate, there was mounting pressure on Biden to drop out. The White House and the president himself denied that he was suffering from anything more than a bad day, a cold, and jet lag, even though he was there for 2 weeks. There were newspaper stories about Hunter Biden, the president's convicted son, keeping by his side and warning all White House staffers that anyone who even hinted at the truth would be fired. That message quickly was leaked to the press. Soon the White House press corps suddenly discovered that they were being misled by the president's press secretary. No way. There were lots of tortured questions and broken hearts, but the message was the same. The president is in good health and is going to run for re-election this fall and carry on serving for 4 more years after he defeats Trump. He was sharp.
Cogent.
Work with him every single day.
Mm-hmm.
On Monday, July 15th, Biden took off on Air Force One on a campaign trip to Nevada, a toss-up state that Biden won in 2020 by a little more than 30,000 votes. That is ridiculously close in a presidential election. On Tuesday, he gave the keynote address to 5,000 members of the NAACP, which was absolutely atrocious. My God, it might have been worse than the debate. The next day, the president apparently...
I'm sure he said he was going to cap rents at $55.
$55. Who wouldn't vote for that guy? The next day, the president apparently stricken him while campaigning with a yet-to-be-revealed illness, broke from his schedule, and made a police escort race to Air Force One after initially telling police that they were heading to the nearest emergency room. A series of blog posts, local police reports, internet messages, and report in the Daily Mail disclosed further details of Biden's trip to Vegas and his abrupt return home to Delaware. I went over these reports this week with a senior official in Washington.
Oh, that was that part right there.
Yes. Next. At that point, according to Emily Gooden, a Daily Mail reporter who was at the traveling press pool, the president was deathly pale. And Air Force One flew at maximum speed to Delaware, where the president has a weekend retreat at Rehoboth Beach. The press pool was told that Biden had COVID. Nothing more was said on Air Force One. After Biden's return to Delaware, the White House told the public that Biden had contracted a COVID infection and would be in isolation. He was said to have upper respiratory symptoms, a runny nose, a cough, and was fatigued.
You think he had COVID?
I don't know, but he was almost dead. I know that. That was the last straw for a core group of congressional leaders, government officials, and some senior Biden funders who were withholding huge amounts of committed contributions. Quote, there was pressure on donors to come across on their pending commitments, the official told me. It was understood that Biden had a physical problem in Las Vegas and the family was saying no to continued pressure from donors and senior Democrats in Congress to withdraw from the presidential campaign. Initially, the president could not be reached. Saturday, July 20th, former President Barack Obama was deeply involved, and there was talk that he would place a call to Biden. It was not clear whether Biden had been examined or just what happened to him in Las Vegas. The big three, the official said, referring to former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, Senate Majority Leader Chucky Schumer, and House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, continued to be directly involved. On Sunday morning, the official told me, with the approval of Pelosi and Schumer, Obama called Biden after breakfast and said, here's the deal. Here's the deal.
He was speaking Biden's terms.
Yeah.
Look, he probably said, look,
yeah,
here's the deal.
Look, man, here's the deal.
No joke. Thanks, man.
We have Kamala's approval to invoke the 25th Amendment. The amendment provides that when the president is determined by the vice president and others to be unfit to carry out the powers and duties of his office, the vice president shall assume those duties. Quote, it was clear at this point, the official said, that she would get the nod, that is, the support to run for the presidency in the November election. But Obama also made it clear, the official said, that he was not going to immediately endorse her. But the group had decided that her work as a prosecutor would help her deal with Trump in a debate.
All right, that's probably enough on that. So you do have to believe all
women,
Seymour Hersh's when you're reading this piece, you know, that he's not just completely making it up. Let's pretend for a second that this is one of the most highly respected investigative journalists in American history. Let's just pretend for a second that that's who we were talking about. Okay. And then after that, you said, all right, so that's true. Obama called, threatened the 25th Amendment, Nancy, Chucky erection, Kamala, Hakeem, all these people are in on it. Kamala said that, yes, she would invoke the 25th Amendment. She's fine with that. And so they got him to drop out after they probably already posted that he was dropping out, probably around the same time that they told him that this was the deal. They probably already posted everything at that time. And then he gets to be a hero after that. He's this noble American hero who stepped aside so the new generation could come up and defeat fascism, all that kind of stuff. And we're supposed to not pay attention to the fact that this guy almost got 25th Amendmented and he's still the president right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of crazy. And also, this sort of sounds like a coup. You know?
Based on my knowledge of coups, that's, yeah.
It's pretty coup-ish.
Sounds, yeah.
So,
at least it was Democratic, though. They all kind of got together and voted.
They voted. It's a group of 4 people got together, and they all said yes. So what was Biden supposed to say? He's like, well, I'm pro-democracy, so 4 of you. That's a unanimous decision on your part.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. That's what we're dealing with right now. And these are the people that are going to help save democracy and save it from Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Now, Trump's got some real bad ideas. A lot of stupid stuff he
says. Had Elon not bought X, this story probably would have been completely blacklisted from every social media company you could imagine. And we, reading this story, would probably get strikes on YouTube and every other place you could imagine that we were spreading disinformation. Because we're questioning
the official narrative.
Yeah, we're questioning but we're also asking the question, is it possible that Biden was threatened with the 25th Amendment? And the answer to that is, it's absolutely possible.
Yeah.
Now, do we know it to be true? No, we don't. Of course we don't. But is it a possibility? Yes.
I think it's a very real possibility.
I do too. I strongly believe that this is actually what happened.
I think it's why on Friday he was saying that like God himself would have to come down And turns out it was the Trinity.
He would
all of them.
Big
three
basically
came down.
For him to drop out, he would have to strike an iceberg. You know?
Yeah.
Which wasn't going to happen.
All right, we got to go.
All of a sudden, it was going to happen.
Happy Monday, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. Also, Venezuela's in trouble, so there's our coverage of that. We will talk more about that tomorrow, see what's going on there. Charlie's got to go. I'm still here telling you that you should go to GodHatesFeds.com. That's GodHatesFeds.com. Get you a shirt. Let me tell you what, I wore it to that show last night, and I got a lot of people saying, hey, I like that shirt. Where can I get that shirt? You can get it at GodHatesFeds.com. You can also go to joingmail.com and hang out with the Fed Haters Club. That's who we're chilling with right now, every single day. I was just telling someone last night that I could not imagine doing the show without you guys that are hanging out with us right now. It's, man, it would be boring. But instead, we get to hang out with people every single day. So that's fun. So go to joingmail.com so you can hang out. Join GML, not Gmail, like what I just said. GML.com. $7 a month. Come on. Just go and do it. If you do all those things, you tell a friend, you tell a family member, you tell the children, you leave a rating and review, you do all those things in that order, and then you go retweet something on our page, and you find a video we did, and you repost that too, and you go like it on YouTube, and then you follow us on Rumble, and hit like on Odyssey, and you share something on Facebook. If you go and do all those things, then we'll be right back here again tomorrow for some more news. Until then, have a good day and a good morning, Liberty.